Hey guys, I'm just going to go over a few things real quick and we can get to some Q&A. So setting up structure. I think everyone here kind of knows about leader roles at this point and having people in roles and how important that is. I wanted to kind of give you a strategy to get people involved in the leader roles. I think if people understand the, first of all, I kind of labeled it as tying in and buying in and doing those in that order. So tying people in first, I'm going to explain like a strategy I use for that, and then getting the buy-in as well for what's going on there. So I think when it comes to tying in, my vision for how the roles play an impact on how the team grows is a huge part of getting them tied in to what it is. So like if you can explain it in a logical way where, look, if we have 8 people on the team all doing something that impacts everyone's CPO on the team, and that's our leader roles. They're designed to grow CPO through whatever it happens to be. Researching, you're finding events, we all do more events, great. Qualifying, which is another new one that we have now, which I'll talk about real quick. You know, finding the best locations, finding if the events are worth it or not, doing negotiation, saving everybody money, and converting it into CPO, right? So, and then explaining, if we all do one of these roles, even if we're not paid for it, imagine the power of you doing your role, and that impacts you as well. But then you have 8 people doing other roles, or 6 people, or 3 people, or however many people you're promoting to try and create a few new roles in. And if you do that, multiply out the CPO for everybody, everyone's growing massive amounts. You know, it's not even possible for me as a coordinator to do what all 6 of these people could do. And if you can kind of just sit down and explain, like, look at the power behind everyone doing a role and getting them tied in to the fact that we need to have roles and that it's important. And this is where you get powerhouse people who maybe are like tough to work with, you know, that are high level CSPs or whatever. As a coordinator, you're trying to get them to work as a team and to do things and to, you know, contribute, right? And it can be really challenging sometimes. But if you can get them to understand that if they contribute and then those other 2 powerhouses also contribute, and that you're having a conversation with them about it, and that we're all going to do this together, and then you have the individual conversations, then you bring them together and you say, look at what we can do, and here's my vision for what your impact could be for the other 2 guys here, and how you could impact you and me, and then everybody on the team could be impacted, and how much we can sell more because of that. That's the tie-in. Okay, once that's understood, that it makes sense for them to work for the team, to grow for themselves and for everybody on the team, then the buy-in is the power of their individual role and that impact that it's having on them personally and the whole team as well. So the tie-in about the group and the community impact, and then the buy-in of their role, and then figure out their love languages, figure out their, you know, what their CVI is. Use that as a tool to words of affirmation them, or whatever it happens to be that their love languages are on their role. And these simple little things, just like once a month here or there, and then recognition at meetings and stuff like that, will get people much more excited to impact the team and to be a part of the role that they're in. Structure to streamline new event process. So we have a research manager, and I think it's great if you have the policy where if someone finds a show, they get to do it. That's cool. And I'm sure you probably already have that. But I think that having someone actually be responsible, like one person, not just like, oh, let's all work on this together and see what we can do, but having actual standards like, this is your role, this is what we're looking to accomplish, here's the levels of what you could receive as a perk if you accomplish these things, and you know, this is our standard for what we're trying to grow in, and that one person is responsible, and then everyone else, you're still promoting, hey, let's find new events, if you find them, you get dibs and stuff like that. That's great. But I think it is important to have a role that is actually someone that's fully responsible for it. And if they're not doing it, they're held accountable for it as well. And that's one way to help grow events, number of events that are being done as well. The qualifying manager thing is working out really, really well for us. So I didn't think it would be that important of a role. But even having someone try to identify our current key events and how we could be at better locations and how we can negotiate those. People are always raising prices. it's a lot of stuff to be calling all these promoters and trying to get a hold of them, and then finding the best. We've seen in new events as well. So our research manager will find a bunch of events, send them to our qualifying manager. The qualifying manager will then call all of these new events and determine and ascertain as to whether we want to even do them or not. If we want to do them and they've got the promoter on the phone, their role is right then and there. All right, so let's start negotiation. Let's find the location. And they do all of that on the phone, close it, and then send it over to our booking person who books the event for us. So it's research manager to qualifying manager to event person that's booking things. And then we also have a service event manager now. So they're finding the best location, and they work with like Luke and I to identify that in various ways, and then to negotiate with the hotel and close that, and keep those relationships throughout the course of, so that we can continue to book those really easily afterwards for future service events. And there's a lot of stuff that role has, service event manager. And then I think the last thing is just modifying structure. If you want to modify your structure, I think the best way to do that is really through vision, and you have to start planting those seeds to get to the direction that you want to go, and you will find that the walls of resistance will be much, much less if you can build the vision of what it is going to be in the end and why it's the best way to do it in a subtle way. Planting seeds throughout meetings, could be division meetings, depends on what structure you're trying to change. And then, I see this, I see that, and just building the vision of how it could be awesome, and then deliver what it is the solution is at the right moment, and then vote on it as a group. You get the buy-in, and that structure can move in various different ways.
I'm laughing because I just got that Vast Action shirt. Check your junk. So that makes way more sense now. The junk mail folder. Okay, got it. Way more. I was like, this is such a random thing. I'm so happy so many people are wearing it. All right. I can't believe y'all made me follow Danbury and Jason. Screw you guys. It's like hazing the DM in the room. All right. So I get a chance to talk here about structure and kind of the way that we have set things up. I never want you to have this rose-colored glasses look. Josh is right. We do have virtually no drama now. And in fact, probably most of the drama we have is because a lot of my team thinks I'm kind of a dick. And I kind of am. So they're right. What's there to fight about? Okay? Exactly. So I'm consistent, okay? You operate with integrity and congruity. But I want you to know we've earned that. That's been a process. That's a journey. I mean, I had to put myself up at a very tense meeting in my house where people were crying and going, fine, you guys vote if you want me to be the coordinator or not. So I don't want you to get the wrong idea. Like, the value of these things is by the end product. This is the destination you're going to. What's more important is not like what I have on this handout. What's more important is like the journey you're going to go on to figure out your version of it. That's what's ultimately more significant. But at the same time, they asked me to share what we do, so let's share what we do. What you have right here is literally the first, I guess it's page 2 and 3 of our policy document. Okay? This is all on the website. Feel free to take our entire policy document, paste your own logos over ours. Cool, right? TGP? I like that. All right, feel free. Take it, use it, embrace it, change it, do what you want with it. It works for us. And like I said, we stand on the shoulders of giants who have helped us with scripts and policies. And we're excited when we have something of value we can offer to the community. So this is page 2 and 3 of our policy document. This is shared at every single training we do. So I want to set the context for this. This is a useful tool for our entire team, for our veterans, but this is primarily used with people 30 minutes into training. Okay, from the very beginning, we want to set clear expectations and standards because, again, when you have consistency, that leads to stability, and that helps you reduce turnover on your team. So as far as our team structure, this is the way that we have it laid out. The division manager, everything begins and ends with the division manager. Now, I know some of y'all maybe have different relationships to your DVMs, and that can be challenging, I know. Some DVMs really understand the event space, and they're supportive, and they're a positive participant. Some really don't, and they try to help, but they do it in a way that's intrusive, and it undermines you unintentionally. And I'll speak for DVMs and tell you it is unintentionally, but it did still undermine you, so at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. And then some DVMs just, honestly, they're so afraid of messing something up because they don't understand this channel, they just kind of do nothing. And they sort of think that's helping because they're staying out of their way, but they don't know how to be a positive participant in what you're building together, even though you represent such a massive part of their divisional sales. Okay, so I can tell you that the more we have empowered our DVMs and the more we have made it abundantly clear to every single person in the organization, shows belong to the DVM. Every other discussion after that, bam. It's starting with a position of authority, okay? The DVM is the person that was entrusted by Vector Marketing Corporation to market and distribute Cutco cutlery within this territory. Therefore, it begins and ends with them. Now, some of you might say, that gives me the squicks, it makes me feel weird. It shouldn't, because it's true. Okay? I promise you it's true. We all serve at the pleasure of our division managers, and the sooner you sort of understand that and work on prioritizing your relationship with your DVM, the better. If I had a dream job in Cutco, it'd probably be just like a liaison between coordinators and DVMs, because those are two of my favorite things in the company. But in the meantime, I'll just do what I do. All right? So you need everyone to understand, though, that at the end of the day, it begins and ends with the DVM, but that only works when you have a positive partnership with the DVM. So we lay out that shows belong to the division manager. It's amazing how much drama goes away when they understand that the DVM is the final arbiter, and at the end of the day, you speak for the DVM. Okay? But you need to earn the right to speak for the DVM. Please don't assume that just because you have a title, you always have their trust. That should be earned, and you shouldn't resent the fact that you need to earn it. I'm just going to say that as a manager in the room. You should be an active participant in work and show not just that you are a beast in the field, but that you want to develop yourself as a leader, you know, and a person of influence. And so that way you make yourself irreplaceable to your division manager. And that's ultimately what will happen. I stepped in as an interim coordinator. I was only supposed to do it for a year. And then things went okay. They asked me to do it another year. And then the year after that, they said, please don't leave. Okay? Now, I'm the first to tell you, I don't think I'm probably the right person to do this forever, which is why I need Kelly, and that's why I make it very abundantly clear. The DVMs know exactly who I think the next 4 coordinators should be, and as those people move on to better things, I'll find 4 more, okay? But we do that because that relationship is paramount. As far as the coordinator, the way I describe this job to every single person, our role is maximizing event sales in the territory and creating opportunities for the team. That's what I tell every single person. My DVMs, I made them memorize that so they can be like, what's Brian's job? Okay, well, that's Brian's job, all right? I don't know why that seemed to help, but it made it like a real thing, okay? He's not like that guy. Team managers and leadership roles. This is important to understand. Like, you can read the verbiage for yourself. That's fine. I'm not worried about that. But the idea of having that layer, and every healthy top division that I know of has that layer in place. But the idea of having that layer is it allows your top performers to earn the right to access top events. And if you were going to write anything on this page, earn the right. Zero entitlement. Zero entitlement. Everyone in this room is a leader, you're a coordinator, you're an assistant, you're a person of significance in your division. It is your job to check entitlement without crushing people and show them how they can earn the right to accomplish the things they want to do. They want to work the great show, and sometimes they're frustrated because they didn't get to. But did you ever tell them what version of this would involve them working the great show? And by the way, if there's no version of them that involves them working the great show, did you tell them that? Or did you avoid that tough conversation because you didn't want to deal with that frustration? Because if you do that, you're just letting them go amok. That's a bull in a china shop. And whatever impact they have on the larger team, because you weren't willing to have that direct conversation, I mean, you kind of brought it on yourself. That's ultimately a failure of leadership. So, like, when I had one of my newer team members that was very excited about the Tulsa Home and Garden coming up, I said, man, I'm super excited for you too. It's going to be awesome in a year or two when you get to work it. And they're like, dude, what the hell? Or, whatever. What the heck? Okay, what the hell? Our DVM said I was going to get a chance to work that show. And I was like, you know what? They misspoke. Sorry for that, because here's all the standards and qualifications, and the reality is you're just not there yet. But man, I can't wait for you to be there. It's going to be so exciting. And you know what I'd love to have you do is come and field train at that show. And you know what? The cool thing is, because some of our leaders are working that event, that's going to free up some space the next weekend at a really quality show that you are able to work. So you have any questions or concerns on that? I know it kind of sucks. I get how you feel, but that is what it is. You know, that conversation matters, but until you have a structure in place where people can legitimately earn the right, well, you're just kind of playing favorites. Oh, Nicole sells a lot, so I need her there, so meh, okay? Like, what is that? Like, you're wondering why some of your team resents, like, the top end of the team. Well, you haven't created a version of this where either they can get to that top end of the team, or you haven't been honest with them and told them that their skill set they have not earned the right just yet to be in that position. Does that make sense? Okay. For the leadership group and the manager roles, that is also an earned right. You know what I'm saying? That's not an entitlement. No one sells their way into significance on my team. God bless you if you can sell a lot. We have room for you. But if you want to be part of the leadership group, it has to do with your total sales, your shift average, and contribution to the division. Every single person knows that. Every single person knows that. So if you have a lone wolf that doesn't want to be a part of the division, fantastic. Tell them good luck, Godspeed. Hey, we should hang out. I'll buy you a beer, but you're not working shows. Why? Because we need people who are part of the division, because we're a team and we're a pillar in this division. Man, we would love to have you. We would be so much better with you, but we will do this with or without you. So you tell me, man, can we get you on board for what we're trying to do together? And if their answer is no, you didn't sacrifice that lamb. The lamb just jumped on the altar itself. You follow me on that? Team members, make it a positive thing. Team members know they're eligible to work about 80% of shows. They're eligible to work traditional events and marketplace events. They don't get to work top events. If you're not on the leadership group or a manager, I tell them on day one of training, they will never work a state fair, they will never work a home and garden show, they will never work a top 25 show in our team, because those are reserved for our top people, because one of my jobs is maximizing event sales in the territory, and I have to protect the integrity of those events. But you know what? When you tell a rep that at $22,000 in sales, they're like, so what does that mean for me? I go, what that means for you is that you don't get access to these 25 shows, but if you do the right things, you get access to the other 175. Or if you're in one of the other divisions, the other 892. Apparently we have some work to do. What was that 400 number? I can't even wrap my head around that. Flip it over. This right here is what I would encourage you more than anything. I think having that first page that does lay out the structure, and it helps create clear and consistent expectations. And by the way, getting your DVM involved in this. I want you all to know that I took that document to the DVMs and I said, do you have questions, concerns, or changes you would like made to this? Because once this is done, this is gospel, this is Bible, this is how we operate. We can reassess this next year if you decide there's something missing. And they're like, yes. And I'm like, great. Let's do it. Okay? So that's our thing. But this document, every division needs this. And yours will probably be better and smarter and more well-articulated than ours. But every division needs this, because from day one of training, our guys know exactly when they say, man, I can't wait to work X. We go, great. Here's what that journey is going to look like for you. And guys, they actually don't resent that. They really don't. Because when you explain that, I don't give you access to some of these shows, you don't have the experience, you don't have the nuance, you don't have the skill set to maximize them, and they're really expensive. Super expensive. And I want to protect your money. I want to protect your finances. Okay, so that's an important conversation. It happens in training. Okay, for us, you see the layers on there where, 10K in sales, they can go through training, 15K, we field train them. But you'll even see some extra notes in there, like must purchase an event kit. Has anyone ever had someone show up to training without their kit that their DM or someone was supposed to make them buy, and they're like, I don't know, okay? And you're just like, what do I do? Do I hold a standard? I kind of punish the kid when really it was probably their manager. They drove 3 hours, but if I make an exception here, where do I make an exception somewhere else? It gets tough. It's really tough. So at a meeting before this, when you share this with the managers and you're like, it's your job to share this, or let me jump on a call and get a chance to talk to all your upcoming people on the team at a key staff meeting, it's worthwhile. 20K in sales, they can work marketplace events, trade days, gun shows, farmers markets. And guys, on this has challenged us as leaders. Like, this has challenged me and Carlton and Marissa and Calvin Lopez and Roger Rodriguez and Stephen Decker. This has challenged every leader on our team to do a better job at identifying, testing, and proving these events so we can staff them with newer people. This last weekend, we had our rodeo going on, which is one of our biggest events of the year. We also had 7 other traditional events, and we had 2 or 3 gun shows going on. We had some dude in our city that doesn't have a car who drove out to Tyler 2.5 hours away to do a gun show. I don't even know how he did it. I think he hijacked someone, okay? But I'll be damned, we've never done a gun show in Tyler, but we sold like $2,000, and this guy is over the moon doing backflips about this $60 show we did where he sold $2,000. And some of you guys, I love it when people tell me, oh, we don't have those kind of shows. And I always go, bet you do. Bet you do. All right? But it's a job. It's a job finding them. And by the way, if we could crack into farmers markets the way that Robert and Curtis and their team has figured that out, like, that's just next level for us, man. We still have room to grow. Traditional events, you need to protect the heck out of them. We have requirements for what your kit needs to be like. That's a simple and important thing. We let people know it's a higher investment. We tell them from the very beginning, as you progress, you invest more. This is a business. You're not a rep anymore. You're an entrepreneur and you're a business owner. 50K in sales. This is our key events. That is the top 25 shows that we do across the divisions. And by the way, those are the shows that we do cross-divisional lines. Like, just because we're one team doesn't mean we don't still respect the fact that Marissa is in Oklahoma. You know, she deserves the chance to build up a powerful clientele there that she can serve at a high level. But at the same time, Kelly's earned the right. She's earned the right, and as long as she meets the other requirements, she can get a chance to go up there, work some shows there, and help elevate that event. Just like, you know, Marissa earns the right to come down and work the rodeo and get a $9,000 business gift order to our neighbor next door on a super slow Tuesday. She's a baller. They both are. Okay? 100K in sales. Guys, our state fair requirements are intense. There's a reason we bring guests in. All right, I've had people sort of kind of throw shade at us before because we have guests. They're like, oh yeah, if we had Curtis on our team, we'd sell a lot too. And I was like, I know, he's awesome. You should get him. Okay? Guys, there's a reason we bring guests in, and it is not the easy decision y'all think it is. Every time we bring a guest in, that is potential shifts that could have gone to someone on our team, and our team knows it. Okay? Every time we bring in a guest, that is fewer sales that'll tap for our division, and our DVM knows it. And every time we bring in a guest, if we don't manage that correctly, that can create drama, stress, or infighting for the coordinators, and we know it. We do it because it's congruent with our standards. We will always staff our own people first, but if they cannot meet the levels we have established for them, we cannot compromise on that. We will not compromise on that. Okay? We have to operate from integrity. And that is why we bring guests in. So if you're curious, that's why. It's as simple as that. It's just so we can operate with integrity. Now, in the process of doing that, we have made these powerful connections and relationships, which is why we really thrive on inclusion. Our team is so much bigger than just the people on this. It includes my wife and Luke Mills and Patton Sides, and it includes Josh Muller and so many other people. The Vast Action Team, our strategic partners, all of them are part of the TGP team. That's how we see it. There's no lines there. Okay? So I'll wrap with this. It's the last, I've said every year at the NET meeting, they let me talk. I'm going to say this. And I always like to have the slide up, but I wasn't going to do a slide for this one thing. That'd be weird. It's amazing what you can get done, what you can accomplish when you don't, one more time. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you don't care who gets the credit. Okay? Your role is indispensable. Vector of the future doesn't exist without CSPs. And again, I'm a DM. And the events space is the single biggest retention tool for high-level salespeople in all of vector marketing and Cutco. And I tell that to DVMs, by the way. You guys are indispensable. But I will say that I can't wait to continue to see the level of management skills and leadership skills and structure elevate across these different teams. And I can't wait to see how many right answers we find together.